When there are only 2 feet of cable left between the drain opening and the machine, stop. You'll have to add another section of cable. First, remove the end of the cable from the machine by lifting the chuck handle. Then pull the machine away from the drain by 1 cable length. Take the end of the cable sticking out of the drain and attach it to the female end of another length of cable. Slide the other end of the cable into the clutch and lock the handle down. Roll the machine back so there's no slack in the cable between the machine and the drain opening. Stand behind the machine, press the air switch, and slowly walk the machine toward the drain as before. Don't force the cable into the drain. You could kink or damage the cable and it won't clear the line any faster. If the cable begins to buckle or twist, stop by taking your hand off the air switch. When you meet resistance in the drain, switch the motor from forward to reverse and run for several seconds. Then forward again. Allow the cable to stop spinning before going in the other direction. The cable will move out of the drain by itself. Just back the machine up enough to take up any slack in the cable as it emerges from the drain. Keep moving the cable in and out of the drain until the resistance lessens and the cable moves freely again. Go slow. Again, don't force the cable. After the drain is clear, retract the cable from the drain line by putting the motor in reverse, depressing the pedal, and backing the machine away from the drain opening. Allow the cable to move out of the drain at its own rate. Just back the machine up enough to take up the slack in the cable. Disconnect each section as the connectors emerge from the drain. Remember to turn off the power switch when handling the cables. When you get close to the end of the last cable, turn off the switch and pull the cable out of the drain by hand. If you will have to operate the machine in a confined space, the Rodrunner can also be used in the close-up configuration. Wheel the machine to within 2 feet of the drain opening and lock the brake. Slide the rear guide hose onto the guide pins in back of the machine and tighten the thumb screw. Attach a cutter to the end of the cable. Push the cable into the drain opening as far as it will go. You may be able to add additional lengths of cable until you meet resistance. Slide the back end of the last cable inserted into the drain as far into the machine as it will go. Remove the air switch from the handle and place it on the floor beside the drain opening. Pull just enough cable from the machine to make a small arc. Push the chuck handle down to lock the cable in place. The knurled knob may have to be adjusted for the correct gripping power on the cable. Switch the motor switch to the forward position. Then, with gloved hands, put one hand on the cable and the other on the clutch handle. Step on the foot pedal. The cable will corkscrew its way into the line. Do not push the cable into the drain. If the cable has trouble getting started, use the cable feeding tool as shown before. Once the slack is gone, stop. Lift the chuck handle and pull more cable out of the machine until you have an arc. Push the chuck handle down and run the cable into the line again. When you are within a few feet of the end of the cable, stop. Pull the end of the cable out of the machine and slide a new one in, male end first. Couple the 2 cables together and continue to run the cable into the line as before. Do not force the cable into the drain. You won't clear the line any faster, and you could damage the cable or seriously injure yourself. The cable must run freely. If it jams, the cable will build up torque, start to buckle, and then, in the blink of an eye, twist itself into a series of loops. If your hands are caught in a loop, you risk severe injury. Again, do not force the cable. If the cable begins to buckle or twist, stop by taking your foot off the pedal. When you meet resistance in the line, run the cable back and forth by switching the motor from forward to reverse and back again. Again, allow the cable to stop spinning before flipping the switch in the other direction. Keep moving the cable in and out of the drain until the resistance lessens and the cable moves freely again. Go slow. Never force the cable. After the drain is clear, retract the cable from the drain line by putting the motor in reverse. With one hand on the cable and the other on the chuck handle, step on the pedal and guide the cable out of the line. Don't pull on the cable. It will corkscrew out by itself. Just take up the slack as it emerges from the drain. When you have an arc of cable, stop. Lift the chuck handle and slide the cable in. Then push down the handle, step on the pedal, and take another arc of cable out of the line. Disconnect each section as the connectors emerge from the drain. Remember to turn off the power switch when uncoupling the cable. When you get close to the end of the last cable, turn off the motor switch and pull the cable out of the drain by hand. Run water into the drain to wash away any cuttings and clean off the cable. If you leave the machine unattended, switch the machine off and pull out the plug. If you have any questions or difficulties, ask your dealer. He'll be glad to give you further assistance. General Pipe Cleaners, the toughest tools down the line.